So this week, we're not moving away from linear relations, but we're getting more into the algebra of it, and we're looking at solving one-step equations. And to do this, I'm going to go back to our example of Hemlock Bluff. Remember Hemlock Bluff and Big Pine? Well, Hemlock Bluff does not charge a base fee, but they charge $30 per hour to use their canoe. So from that, we knew that the cost for Hemlock Bluff was $30 per hour. Okay? So solving one-step equation involves basically when you have an equation has an equal sign and you have everything except for one variable and you need to solve for that variable. So let's say, for example, your bill coming out of Hemlock Bluff, your cost was equal to $180. Okay? So if your cost was equal to $180, you would have 180 is equal to 30h. And you didn't know how many hours you used it. Okay? So you know your bill, your cost was $180. You knew it was $30 per hour, but you didn't know how many hours you used. So we need to undo everything that's happening to the variable here. Well, the variable here is h, hours, okay? And what's happening to the variable right now, it's being multiplied by 30. So we need to do the exact opposite of what's being multiplied by 30. And the opposite of multiplying by 30 is dividing by 30. But as we stated in class, you cannot do something to one side of the equation you don't do to the other. So you need to, if you divide this side by 30, you also have to divide this side by 30. What happens is this 30 divided by this 30 will cancel out and just leave one h, or just h. And 180 divided by 30 is going to leave you 6 when you divide it out. Therefore, if you used a canoe for 6 hours, your cost would be $180. And that's how you solve that one-step equation. Now let's say you went on a longer canoe trip. So you had a cost of $330. At this point, you might be better off to start buying your own canoe if you're going on these long trips. But let's say your cost was $330 and you still know that it costs $30 per hour. So now we're trying to figure out how many hours did you use it for? Well, the same thing. What's happening to my variable h? Well, it's being multiplied by 30. We need to undo that operation. To undo that operation, we need to divide by 30. So in order to divide by 30, again, 30 divided by, this is why we do it, because it gets rid of that 30 there. And we're left with just one h, or just h, and 330 divided by 30 would just be 11. Therefore, if you had a bill of $330, you used the canoe for $11, or 11 hours. There's really only 4 types of one-step equations. So let's take a look at these. If you had 5x equals 20 and you want to solve for x, well, ask yourself, what's bugging your variable? Well, what's bugging my variable there is it's being multiplied by 5. Make sure you talk that out to yourself. It's being multiplied by 5. If a number is right beside a variable, it means they're multiplied. So to undo multiplication, we need division. Whatever we do to one side, we do to the other. We divide both sides by 5. And we're left with x is equal to 4. You could also have an equation where you had x over 3 is equal to 4. Well, again, you need to ask yourself, what's happening to my variable? My variable is being divided by 3. So how do you undo division by 3? Well, you multiply by 3. You're going to multiply both sides by 3. This multiplies in, and you're going to get 3x divided by 3. The 3's can cross out, and you're left with just the x is equal to, and 3 times 4 is equal to 12. Okay? So what it's really asking is back up to the original. If I show this up here, is a number divided by 3 is equal to 4. And you found that number to be 12. Over here, what it was asking, a number multiplied by 5 is equal to 20, and you found that number equal to 4. Okay, so now we can go down and let's look at one with addition. X plus 4 is equal to 20. Well, what's happening to the variable is it's being added 4. So we need to do what's opposite. What's opposite of adding 4 is subtracting 4 from each side. Whatever due to one side, you do to the other. Then we're left with x equals, well, 4, positive 4 minus 4 goes to 0. So you could write x plus 0, but x plus 0 is just x. And 20 minus 4 is 16. So a number plus 4 is equal to 20. That number is 16. And finally, subtraction. X minus 2 is equal to 10. A number subtracted by 2 is equal to 10. The number is being subtracted by 2, so we are going to add 2, the opposite operation each time, to each side. And x minus 2 plus 2 is equal to, so minus 2 plus 2 is x plus 0, or x minus 0, which is just x. 10 plus 2 is equal to 12. Therefore, we just have a number minus 2 is equal to 10. That number is 12. 12 minus 2 is equal to 10.